Lost some players in the off-season, but there's still some upside.
And it's Dawson Simpson against Callum Sinclair in the ruck. The first clearance from who else but Callan Ward. Big up and under. Brought to ground by Sinclair. Williams surges onto it. The live wire Daniels able to flick a handball over the top. And it's touched off the boot from Williams. So Melican has to keep on going. He just got a boot to it. And it's socket off the ground for the opening goal within seconds from Stephen Cornelio, who's got a bit of a soccer background. That's tonight. The former Tiger. Lloyd among the targets. Big fist over the top came from Thurlow, but reading it best was Callan Ward, and they've got 2 goals with less than a minute gone, the Giants.
Gee, their mids are putting pressure on the Sydney mids, aren't they? That's...
As a coach, 2 first up to start the season. Midfield's on fire early on, and they're, as you said...
Yeah, he's super important for him, Jono. Just his speed off half-back. He's a real game changer, Zach Williams.
The other one's Sam Taylor, who just kicked that ball as well.
As we watched the practice game last week, it was all Sydney early on. The Giants hardly started, and now it's GWS all over them. Here in Blacktown, Lloyd to make it 3 straight in a minute and a half. No problem at all. What a red-hot start from GWS. Its way, the advantage was given. And with dash off half-back, it's Kennedy. Great service for Cameron.
Through that middle corridor, so they go through him every time and he starts the chain.
Their leading goal kicker in each and every season in the AFL for the Giants, and he continues the streak, 4 straight now. Thurlow, who they picked up from the Cats, and the Swans still have it now. That handball did the ruckman no favours. Sinclair unable to take it from Ronk, but Thurlow can have another go, and it's going really long. Jackson Thurlow, and
compared to the mistakes, as we see a good clash there.
The handball on the up for Bonner. Alir is now back. Picking up Jeremy Cameron. Daniels trying to bend it back. Not quite. Nice attempt. But Clark got on the end of it, and then he's pinged. And Deledio will take the free kick.
Geez, Giants' pressure's been...
The ball just to keep it moving in an attacking fashion.
A tougher shot than his first. Lloyd not quite getting the journey from about 50.
Still alive.
Alir able to roll onto it, and Thurlow gets another kick. He's made an impressive start in his first genuine hit out for the Swans. Here's Haitley. Dragged as he got the kick away, and it dropped nicely. And this guy was the easiest, wasn't he? Leon Cameron. Walks the same, looks the same. And they get along really well, and he finishes off another one. It's 5 goals, 1 to 1. Good stretch by Keefe in traffic, and now Finlayson just chips one to Perryman, who's on a very similar... They really like his footy brain as well. Harry Perryman, and for 2 in a couple of minutes, not quite. Going to try and set it up. Hangs in the air a long time, and that favours Dawson Simpson. Couldn't stick it though. Clark at ground level stayed down and couldn't quite kick Sydney's first. Have your final say on it?
No, I must have missed that little bit of the speech from David Rathen. The AFL that day.
Look at O'Riordan go. He travelled about 50 metres with 1 bounce, and he goes long, and it's off hands through for a minor score, but he's got
inside 50s ahead, so certainly doesn't reflect on the scoreboard at all yet. They haven't been able to just get that connection between their mids and forwards. We see Blakey jump in the back there. They'll look at it again, but it didn't look too much in it. But
a little late on bun time.
A little late in the back of the head. I think he probably marked it as well. So a big weapon for them.
Ward has options here. Elects to step around one and use Caldwell. Nice fend off by the first-year player. And then the kick to Lloyd on the lead. Going that a lot of players coming through those drafts try and bring into their game. Lloyd, what a beautiful strike that is into a little bit of breeze. And he's got his 2nd of the evening.
Toby Green's not bad either.
He should be right for JLT 2 next week for the Giants. Here's another chance. Chest mark for Jeremy Cameron, who'll... Little grimace there as well. He might have copped one down low. Regathers himself, but drags it wide, and no Giant there to create a contest. They were setting up for the kick-in.
Setting up for the zone. You got to at least have one forward just thinking he might make the distance here, or he might slide this one.
Another tackler falls off Callan Ward, and it was Alir. 102 kegs. He's a big unit, the 21-year-old, and that is a beautiful strike too. Will it get the journey? Not quite. Off hands, through for one behind, but a beautiful strike.
This is Reed's first touch, so that's been the problem. It's really their forward setup. Here it is. That's better. So you got a nice kick to Reid, because the inside 50s are pretty even, I think.
Side 50 to Heaney, who had worked the fat side, was able to slide in behind and take the mark.
Can he get their first goal of the evening? He's a classy player, Isaac Heaney, and he makes
the most part of last year, which was an Achilles injury. So all looks good for Zach Williams.
Pressure on Davis here. Here goes Reid. Gets it from Heaney. Can he steer it home on the bounce? It went the wrong side.
Well, Sam Reid, once it hit the ground, it was happy days for the Sydney Swans.
Sam Reid was back 10 metres there, and it worked out for the Swans. He was able to track down the kick out, and the turnover by the Giants. And Taylor coming the other way, but he kept on going. Now Parker inside forward 50. Elects to go back to Patley. It was pay to mark. Patley able to play on, but he hooked it. Cunningham was play on for him, and on the follow-up, here's McInerney, a first-year player with his first goal in the
Jono.
Yeah, to stop the scoring, the Giants were on fire. Couldn't miss in that first quarter, and that
again. Aliir, clever little slap to the advantage of Rampy, but Cameron was there, smothered by Mills in the back.
There's a poor tackle, that really poor tackle. So,
but from that point, he's been able to control the ball quite well.
The boy from Bendigo used to practice his goal kicking on the farm with the PVC and all that, and practice makes perfect. Off hands again, Florence. On the outside is Cunningham once more with Dash. Keeps it low inside forward 50, and reading it best was Heaney once more.
Yeah, Isaac is a natural midfielder, but it'll be interesting to see where he spends most of the year.
He didn't appear to fancy it from the time he took the mark, and maybe that shows.
There it is. Oh, it's your ball in a Casey game. Just drilled him in the side head. He went down. It was nasty.
Okay.
Yeah, very nasty.
As if he needed another head knock.
Well, it was when that period, where it was sort of looking pretty precarious for him.
Oh, good climb in the goal square by Sinclair.
And that's what he needs to use as his strongest asset against some of these ruckmen, and kicks a nice goal.
Yeah, Sinclair finishes off, and that margin is just tight.
Max Gawn, the two probably dominant ruckmen in the competition. That's the benchmark, and if he can compete against those guys consistently, then when resting, get
Run of O'Riordan, who sets it up. Plenty down there, isn't there? And the rise from the Swan, unable to stick the mark. And now a chance for Ronk, and finished off in the middle by Isaac Heaney.
They just kept surging that forward.
Facts your goals, aren't they? Now, there's not a real big key forward. We mentioned Reid hasn't taken.
To missing all of 2016, playing one game in 2018, he's a really important factor in this team.
And there he is on cue.
And can't finish off on this occasion.
Well,
Shaw taking his time, and he's shanked it, and Parker says that.
Up the middle. I think the longer kick definitely having a crack at it, but bad turnover there.
The Swans are coming. They're back within a kick tonight, and they're paying homage there. There's actually a Sydney Swans float in the Mardi Gras tonight, as Cornelio can't quite bend it back in time. Tap won by Dawson Simpson out in front of Whitfield, who helped it on to Caldwell, the balanced first-year player. Well, how encouraging is that?
And probably in the main seat. But look at it. Really, really good. He follows Lockie Whitfield, gives him an option. And then, again, we talked about his kicking style, John. Really,
Jordan Clark
is a no-brainer, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's Lloyd in the pocket. Found by the McVeys on the central coast of New South Wales, this guy, kicking a stack of goals up there. And near side from Lloyd on that occasion. Broken Hill. Himmelberg. Taranto. The Giants full of run right now. Daniels out in front of Lloyd. Aliir lost his feet. Lloyd kept his, and he's going to stroll in for his third this time.
The biggest sin in football.
And you can see here, does everything right, and then there just traps his feet underneath, and then Lloyd says happy birthday. How good is that? Open goal. He's had a good game.
Yeah, he's had a good game, hasn't he? Yeah, It's a slight lack of awareness from Alir. He probably needed to go to the back anyway, you know, where the ball was going. So he sort of crashed into him, and as you said, like
Pink trying to pick it up, and that was just dropped by Flynn. Play on for Haitley. Great vision. What a handball that is, to the advantage of Daniels, trying to finish off the work of Haitley and unable to do so. But as well as Davis stepped up at the right time. Now Lloyd looking to play link man this time. And Himmelberg got off the chain. And he's going to go over the top to Daniels, who won't be run down. And they're opening up that margin again, the Giants, to 4 kicks. On Shaw, making sure he can't get too much of it, and then taking the mark here, with the Swans going the other way. Not a great kick inside 50, though, coming.
Ball in the air. So it's really hard for them to score without Buddy there and without Reid and perhaps the second ruckman as well.
Jeremy Cameron at full speed, released by Taranto, assessing the options, looking for a teammate. Himmelberg the target. How good is that service? It was almost Buddy, yes. All 24 games played by this guy, Harry Himmelberg, and he misses.
But again,
Ball got after it again. De Boer, and knocked out of his hands by Kennedy, who's rewarded down. Tough for Lloyd to gather as well, so the Sherrin's becoming slippery. Now Lloyd's got it, found by Reid, and Shaw almost had his heart broken, but he got there in the end. And argue going on Keefe and open up some space. The climb came from Buntine. Reid able to drag it down, and Kennedy keeps the shot low, and the Swans have the first goal of the final.
To Josh Kennedy, there it is there, just floating across, and that was better from Sam Reid, and that's the type of stuff that consistently he needs to bring.
Set up a grandstand finish here. Now Heaney, great ruck work by Sinclair, and off hands of Finlayson. Hayward putting the pressure on, slapped through for one behind.
I think the question you're
breaks to Heaney. Time stood still for a moment. Mills on the follow-up, saw Blakey in space, and he tees him up for the set shot.
Yeah, there's a good advertisement for the Swans. A midfielder comes in and plays a similar role, so it's he's worked really hard though.
Nick Blakey kicked 3 straight in the practice game last week, and he's still got the radar working. His first goal so long ago that he came through that academy. That's why the Swans were able to pick him up.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously they live in Sydney, been living there for many, many years. So look, yeah, clearly it's a tough decision because, you know, John,
the 18-year-old out of South Australia, former school captain. What can he do with the set shot? Goal umpire's not moving too far. Jackson Haitley's on the board now, and they all get around him. Playing for a free kick, doesn't get one. It goes the way of the Swans instead, eventually. Papley, good kick out in front of Hayward, who's so hard to contain.
And then hit a leading target.
He's kicked 50 goals in his first 2 seasons in the AFL, but he won't register there. All the way up towards Melican, and Himmelberg stuck to the task and left it behind eventually for Rampy, who then threw it out the back, and he's pinged for it. Look at Daniels explode. He's got genuine pace, and he's able to tee up Cameron with a right foot shot, and it's near side. Here's Pink with the red hair, goes inside 50, and it's a good kick, allowing Parker to lead up. And all those names you mentioned, though, are the natural forwards.
That's right.
And they weren't really there at stages in that third quarter. It's another miss, though.
Yeah,
it was a good mark by Daniels.
I think he did the right thing to help Whitfield then and not come through with that kick.
That message from Leon Cameron rings true 8 days later, just helping each other out ahead of the AFL season. Boot doesn't do it too often. Now he's going to have the set shot on the trusty left from 50. And it won't quite bend back enough. Heaney, second effort to slap it towards Rowbottom, who goes after it again, the youngster, and gives Callum Sinclair every chance now. Across comes Shaw.
Yeah, it's hard not to like his game, isn't it? Good young player.
And the Bendigo pioneer. Kennedy's drifted forward.
More and more impact, the younger players coming in to AFL footy in terms of, you know, we've had some standouts this year.
It is kids, isn't it? Because they get a bit of confidence, and then it's where they can take their opportunity going into round one and host that.
Phil Davis has only kicked 6 goals in his AFL career. He wouldn't know it. 50-game mark this season. Flicked on there by Dawson. He'll get the reward, will he? Kennedy got it back to him. Great chase by Cornelio.
The JLT finishing and then the home and away season starting. I think that's why you can afford to go 2 good hit-outs.
Yeah.
Have that week, you know, you got that spell, and then you're into it.
Yeah, I think as long as you're playing the 2 games, I think it's a good lead-in. And I like the fact that most teams have got together and said we're going to have an intra-club.
That's right.
You know, so you've got enough footy to get yourself right.
Well, just like last year's final, the Giants get the better of the Swans.